Hey everyone, welcome back to the Programming Fields. This is Umesh, and firstly I just want to say a big thank you for all the love and support on our Laravel 11 Livewire chat application. The feedback has been insane and I truly appreciate every single one of you. And guess what? Based on your awesome suggestions, today I came up with a much needed feature, that is real-time search with highlighted results and auto scroll just like WhatsApp. So by the end of this video, you will learn how to add real-time search to Livewire chat app. Also we'll highlight search terms in messages. Then we will add the smooth scroll to the first match. And lastly, we will navigate between multiple search results by clicking on next and previous button. So for those who are new here, we built a real-time chat application in Laravel 11 using Livewire 3 and Reverb WebSockets. And this was our lightning fast updates. If you have not seen that yet, I have linked that tutorial below. You can check out that. We have got smooth messaging, WebSocket powered updates and a clean UI, but today we are making it even better. Alright, let's quickly jump to the demo that we are going to build in the today's video. So here we have the search messages option. When I will type something, this will scroll to that message based on the search term, and here we have cleared icon appeared along with this arrow up and down, and whatever we have searched here in this input, that search term has highlighted here in the messages list. So if I will type a message just like hey, you can see in this current message list, wherever the message containing hey, this has highlighted those messages. So here it highlighted this one, and if you want to see more, we can click on arrow up or down. So if I'll click on arrow down, here we have another hey, right, and this one, and here this one too, and lastly it will scroll this loop. Similarly we can click on arrow up, okay, and it will just highlight those search term. Similarly, if we'll try to search another message just like good, then here we have the good morning message. If we'll search for other, yeah, we have the good evening. And the interesting feature is like this is scrolling to that message. If we'll click on this clear, this searched input will be cleared out, alright, and it will auto scroll to the bottom for the latest message. Let's try again. I will search for hey, so this scroll to the first message first, and if I'll clear it, this will scroll down to the bottom for the latest message. So this is the feature that we are going to build now. So this is our demo application, and I will implement this in our Laravel chat app, okay, and we did this application setup in the previous video. Here we have the list of users available, and the same messaging functionality have been added here. So today I'll be just implementing the search functionality at this top here. So let's start by adding the search input field at this top bar. So let's quickly come to the code editor, and here we have the Laravel application setup. So firstly I'll navigate to the chat blade component. I will dock this window, and here we have the username displaying at the top bar, this one. So at the top right section, just like the demo, I will add this search input here. So here after this heading, I will just add input type is equals to text, placeholder, I will add search messages, and also I will add class, let's suppose border, width full, okay, and I will add rounded MD, and I will add focus outline none, focus ring 2, okay, and I will just specify the color focus ring blue 400. So this will be our search input. Yes, now I just want to keep these two in the same line, just like this name and text input. So I will just wrap these two in a div. So instead of X slot name header, I will just remove this, and here I will just add div, and I will add class as flex items center and justify between, just like this. I will remove this X slot, that is not needed, and here I'll just close this div. I will come to the browser. Yeah, this is in the same line now. So firstly I just want to add background white to this section. So I will just create one more div here, div class bg white. I will just wrap this. Okay, now I just want to start this name from this alignment, just from here. So I will set max width of this header. So I will just add one more div here, div class, and here I will just add these all classes and I will add it here. I will close this div. Okay, let's check now. Yeah, this is fine. This alignment is perfect. Now I will just reduce this width of this input field. So I will just create one more div for this input because we have to add a couple of icons here. So I will just add div class relative. I will set this position, and here I will just specify the width as 1/3. So this will take 1/3 of this entire div section. Yes, this is perfectly aligned now, and here we need to give some padding for this div. So I will add padding y of 3 here in this bg white section. Yes, now we have to add few icons here at the placeholder. So now I will add Tailwind Heroicons, and here I need a search icon. So I will just search for this magnifying glass. I'll just copy this SVG. I'll come to this code, and here after this input I will add one span class, and inside this span I will just paste that search icon. Okay, now inside this span I will just pass the class as position absolute, and here we will have to set the position from left and right. So let's come to the browser first, and this has appeared from here. So I will just set it from the left position. So I will set left 3, top 1/2, and I will add transform, and I will add translate y 1/2. This will be half. Okay, and also I will add text gray 500. Let's check now. Yes, this is the correctly aligned now, and also I will add padding from left on this input field. So I will just add padding left as 12, or we can reduce this to 10. Yeah, this is fine. Also I will add one clear icon inside this. So I will search for close this circle. Okay, I will just copy this SVG. Now after this span I will add the clear icon because we have to reset the field. So firstly I will create one button here because we have to implement the clear functionality by clicking on that. So I will just add button type button. I will implement the functionality later, and inside this I will just paste that SVG icon, and here I will just add few classes as position absolute. This will be 20, and from top I will add 1.5. Also I will add transform and translate -y, and here I will just add 1.5, just like this. Next I will add text gray 500, and on hover I will add text gray 700. This is done. I'll check now. Yeah, this is on correct position now. And also I just want to change this color of this SVG icon to red. So here, instead of current color, I will change this stroke to red. Okay. Now we have to add arrow up and arrow down icons as well. So I will search for arrow up, and here we have this chevron up. I'll copy this, and after this button, again I will add two more button type. This will be again button. Inside this I will just paste that SVG. Alright, and also I will just duplicate this button section for this arrow down, and I'll change that icon from here. I'll copy this and simply I'll replace it from here. Now here, for this arrow up and down, I just want to wrap these two buttons in a single div. Okay, so firstly let me wrap these two buttons, and here I will have to add few classes. So I will add position as absolute, and I will set it to right, just like this, and again for top it will be 1.5, and I will simply transform, and I will use translate again. This will be transform translate y 1.5, and also I will use flex class, and I will add space x2. This is done. Now for the buttons, I will add simply above classes here, these two, text gray hover, and for this one too. Let's come to the browser. Let's refresh. Yes, this is displaying correctly. Now we will be working on the search functionality. So firstly I will just bind one event from this input. So I'll come to the code editor, and here for the search I will just bind one wire model directive, and here I just want this search on the real time, so I will be using wire model.live attribute. Inside this I will bind one property as search. Now in order to capture this search value, we will have to define this property inside the chat component class. So after this public file, public $search, and by default I will set it to null. Now whenever we will type something inside this input, this will assign this text to that variable, but we have to fire one event here. So what I want, whenever this input field will be updated, this will fire one event based on this current input property. So we have defined this property as search. So Livewire provide one functionality in order to capture the updated property. So based on this property name, we can define a function in order to capture the updated data. So here we will define one function as public function updated, and after that we will have to pass this variable name as search. So this will be specially defined for this property only, and whenever this property will be updated or any value will be updated inside that will be captured automatically inside this. This function will be triggered up automatically. Let's see. Here I'll just add dump and die. I'll come to the browser. I will refresh, and here I'll just type something. Yes, we can see this triggered that method, and inside that method we are able to get that dump. So here I will just add dump and die search. We will have to add $this search. Now I will type H. You can see we got H here. Now based on this we will capture this input and we will search this in the message. So here I will add one condition: if not empty this search, then I will search this search term in the messages. So we have already this messages variable defined here. So I will simply iterate this messages as message. This will be this message, and here let's get the index of that array, because we will be getting messages in the array. So inside this for each, we will be getting the messages just like message object. If I will show you here, yes, we are getting the message object. So we have to check that search term from this message field. So I will be using if, and I will be using PHP string position, and this will check from the message field, and inside this we have to pass the second parameter as search term that we want to search. So I will pass $this search, and this not equals to false. If the search term will match from this message, then I will just assign that message index to a variable, so the searched term can be found in the multiple messages. So we will have to capture those messages index here, so that we can scroll to those messages, and also we will have to highlight those messages. So for this we will have to capture the multiple messages index here, and due to that we will have to define one array variable here. So I will define public, let's suppose matched index, and I will initialize it with empty array. Now here I will just assign $this matched index, and I will make it multi-dimension, because there can be more than one index inside this, and every time when this function will be invoked, we will have to reset this variable with empty array. So again I will just reset this with empty array. Now after this I will just check the count of this array. If count of this matched index is greater than 0, that means this searched message index was found inside this message list, then I will set it to 0, else it will be -1. That means the message index was not found, because we have to redirect to the first message if the searched term found inside the message. And I will just assign this to another variable. So here I will just define one more variable as public $current match, and I will initialize it with 0, and here I will just assign this to same variable. Now here I will just add one if condition. If $this current match not equals to -1, that means if it is 0, then we have to fire one event here to scroll to the message in the front end. So I will come to this part later. Firstly we will be working on the highlighting of the message part. So for highlighting the message, we will have to capture this searched parameter in the message list in the front end side. Here we are rendering the messages. This is receiver side, alright, and here this is for the sender side. So we have to highlight the message whatever we have searched in the searched input. So we are rendering the messages here, therefore we will have to highlight the messages here, and for this we will have to create one function in order to check if that searched term appeared in this message in the front end. Alright, so firstly I will create a function to highlight the message in the component itself. So here at the top I will just create one function as public function highlight text. Inside this function I will just pass the parameter just like text and what I want to search on that text. Now inside this function I will just use regular expression. So firstly we will have to escape the text or a string whatever it is coming in the message in order to highlight that. So I will use preg quote function. Inside this I will pass search that we want to search, and here in the next parameter I'll just escape the slash. and I will just capture in a variable just like escaped. Now next I will use preg replace. Inside this I will pass this escaped string by concatenating this escaped dot slash I. Alright, now in the second parameter I will just highlight that, so I will be using mark tag just like this. Inside this mark tag I'll just pass $1 so that this will append that matched text. Okay, now in the third parameter I will just use e function so that this will escape the entire text and this will prevent the cross scripting. Here I will just pass the text. Okay, and we will have to return this string. So the first line, this will just escape the search term to safely insert into the regular expression. Now in the next line we have used preg replace function just to wrap the matched terms in the mark tag. Alright, this is done. This function will highlight this text. Now we have to call this function from this chat component blade. So firstly I'll just comment this message, and here we have to call the function. So I'll be using single curly braces with double exclamation mark, and here I will just call $this highlight text function. Because we have defined this method as public, so we can access this method directly inside this chat component blade. Now inside this we have to pass the parameter. So in the first parameter this will accept text, that means message. Now in the second parameter we have to pass the search, because we have defined this search variable public inside the component class. So whatever we will type inside the input field, this variable will capture that input text and that will be automatically reflected here. Let's come to the browser, and here I'll just type hello. Okay, we can see we have applied this at the receiver end. So at the receiver end this has highlighted the text as hello. If I will change this to hey, yes, this has highlighted the text. Alright, user, yes. The same thing we have to apply at the sender side. So I'll just call this function here for the sender side, this one. Okay, let's check now. I will refresh it. I will type hello. Now you can see the input search term has highlighted this matching text at the sender side and at the receiver side as well. Alright, so the highlighting part is done. Now I just want to scroll to the message area, to that message automatically wherever this message will found. So firstly it will scroll to the first matching of that text. It does not mean it found at receiver side or sender side. So this should automatically scroll to that first message. So for scrolling this we will have to fire one event from the component class, and we will have to listen that in the component blade. So based on that we will apply the JavaScript scrolling event. Alright, so let's continue this scrolling part here. This is update search. Here we will have to trigger this event. So for scrolling we will have to dispatch one event. So better I'll just keep it in a separate function as scroll to match, just like this. Okay, inside this function we will have to dispatch one event as $this dispatch, and here I'll just pass one event name, just like scroll to message. But along with this dispatch event, we have to pass a data of that searched message index, so that it will be automatically scrolled to that particular message index. So here we will have to find the matched index of this current match. Okay, so what I will do, I will just find the current match inside this matched index array. So I will simply add $this matched index, and inside this I will just pass the current match. Okay, if it is there, then I will just return this index, and I will capture this to a variable, and here I'll just return it. Okay, and here I'll just add one if condition, if not empty $index, then this will dispatch this event. And we will have to call this function here. Inside this, let's add one annotation, function scroll to match text. Now we will have to listen this event in the front end. So I'll copy this, I will come to the chat bleed, and at the JavaScript section, here after this I will use livewire dot on scroll to message, and here I'll just create this anonymous function, and we have to capture the index from that event here, because we are dispatching this event and we are passing the data over there. So we will have to capture this with this event. Capture the index of the searched message, and here I'll just use console.log event. I will come to the browser now. I'll open the console window, and here I'll just type, are you there? We can see we received the index of the first matches. Yes, we are getting that index. So based on this, we will have to scroll this to the message index. So firstly, we will have to append one index against every messages here, whatever it is rendering at the front end side. So here we are rendering the messages in the for each loop here. All right. So simply I'll just wrap this in a div, and I will just add ID, and here I'll just pass message. Okay, and inside this message for each loop, I will capture the index of this message, and after this I will just append that index here inside this div, and after this end if, we will have to close this div. So I have simply wrapped this messages inside this message dash index div. So for every message, this will create a unique ID for the div. If we'll come to the front end, if we'll refresh, and if we'll hover over on this, here we have the message index ID. Okay, and this is unique. Now in the console, if we'll type hello, this returned 16. So based on this index, we will have to scroll to that same index number as 16. This is our first message matching with word hello. All right. So let's scroll to this index. So I will simply capture that element here. So I will use const message element, and here I'll use document dot get element by ID, and we have the ID as message dash, and we will have to capture that using this event dot index. All right, I will just console this message element. Okay, let me remove this console log. I will come to the browser, I will refresh, and here I'll just type hello. This returned that element div id. So I will scroll to this div here. So I will be using message element dot scroll into view function, and inside this view I will pass the behavior, and this will be smooth, and I will add block as center. Okay, so better we can wrap this in a code because this is object. Okay, I will remove this console, and here I'll just add if condition. If we have the message element, then only this will scroll to that. This is done. Let's come to the browser. Now if we'll try to search any message, hello, yes, it scrolled to the first message. So this is working. Now we will have to work on this arrow up and down functionality. So firstly, let's bind one click event on that arrow. So here we have the arrow up. So I will bind one click event wire click. So for this arrow up, we have to search the previous messages, because when we will click on this arrow up, this will search the previous messages here. Alright. So let's bind a function as previous match, just like this. And for this arrow down wire click, we will have to bind next match. Now let's define these two functions inside chat component. So after this scroll to match, I will just define these two functions, previous match, public function previous match, and let's define next match. Okay, now let's start with this next match. So in the next match, we have to check the index count in the incremented order. So firstly, I will check if count of this matched index, this one, is greater than 0. So I will be using count because this is array. So if it is greater than 0, then inside this I will just increment the current match plus 1. So what I will have to do, I will just wrap this, and we have to find the modulus of $this matched index. Okay, just like this. So this is array, so we will have to use count, and let's capture this response in a variable, just like same variable we have current match. Now after this, again we will have to call this a scroll message so that this can dispatch the event. So I will call $this scroll to match. Now same thing we will have to write it for the previous match. So I will copy this condition, but for the previous match we have to check in the descending order because the message index count will be decremented. And for this modulus, we will have to just take this count and we will have to sum it here, just like this. So what it will do, firstly it will just take the current match of the searched term from the message minus 1, plus it will append the total count of the matched index, and then it will just find the modulus of that, and again it will assign to this current match variable. Thereafter it will scroll to that index. Alright, now let's come to the browser. Let's refresh. Now let's try to search a message, hello. Let's try to click on arrow down. Yes, click is working, we can see. This is navigating to that searched messages. Also if we try to click on arrow up, this is redirecting to that message. Okay, so this is working properly. Now we have to work on this clear message. So when I'll click on this clear message, this search input should reset. So I will bind one click event on this. So I will come to the chat blade component, and inside this button I will just bind wire colon click reset search. Okay, I will copy this. I will define one more function here, function reset search. Inside this we will have to reset the search variable. So we have defined this public search. So basically we will have to reset these three variables inside this. So I will just add $this search. Okay, this is done. Let's come to the browser. Now let's try to search a message again. Hello. If we'll try to click on this clear button, yes, that input field is cleared now, and here the searched highlighted terms has been reset. Okay, but this should scroll to the latest message, just like this is the recent message. So we will have to dispatch event here. This one message is updated because this was for the scrolling to the bottom. So we will have to dispatch this event here after resetting these properties. Let's come to the browser now. Let's refresh. Now let's try to search a message. Hello. If I will clear this, yes, this automatically scrolled to the latest message, and this input field has been cleared. The marked text has been removed. Let's try to search another message. Hey, let's try to jump on that. Alright, this is working. And that's it. We have just added a powerful search system with highlighting, smooth scrolling, and keyboard navigation. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments below, and also drop the comments for what next feature you want to be added in this chat application. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell icon for more Laravel and Livewire content. So thanks for watching, and see you soon in the next video. Until then, happy coding.